What's up? Today is the day we get to put a Baseline roof rack on the truck. Got the whole family here today. The wife is blurry in the background. I'm going to show you guys kind of the packaging it came in. I already tore it all apart, but you'll get the idea. And then show you all the parts. So it came in 2 boxes. We've got one long one that has all the sides and the fairing in, and then this one had all the aluminum extrusions. Obviously got lots of stickers, and then here are the parts. So we got brackets, and I've got racks for the Blazer, for the cab, and then for the Duramax cab and for the topper, so we can get our tent put on. And then here's all your hardware. Comes with Loctite, and then all your different bits and pieces. We're gonna go ahead and build the rack first because I have to put riv nuts in the roof on both the truck and the topper. So we got to build it, make sure we get it set on there, make sure it's centered, and then mark our holes, and then we'll get the holes drilled and the riv nuts put in. And then I did go to Harbor Freight. You can get this tool at Harbor Freight. You can also get it on Amazon. So Baseline can send you a link for either of those tools, so you can make sure you're getting the right one. So yeah, let's get to building. And by the way, in today's video is going to be just the Duramax install. The Blazer's not quite ready for it yet, so I'll do that separately on another video. And okay, so I went ahead and labeled everything so that it makes it super easy to know what you're grabbing and you're not second guessing yourself. Okay, so like I said, you can look this up on the internet on baselineoverland.com. Pick your vehicle, and then it has all the instructions right here at your fingertips. So we are right here, front fairing pre-assembly. So we're gonna grab those bits and just follow the instructions one by one. Okay, so I've grabbed my 6 bolts, 6 washers, and 6 slide-in T-nuts, and they're gonna go in the aluminum extrusion, these guys, and then we'll bolt the fairing to that extrusion. Okay, so you got your extrusion. If you have notches in your fairing like that, and a dog, some people are gonna have notches on either side. My truck only has one antenna, so there's one here, and then there's a notch in one of your crossbars, and that notch is going to line up on your fairing. The phone keeps focusing on the dog. Come here. Get out of the frame. And then you're going to use your shorter screws. It is blurry as all hell. Use your shorter 5/8 bolt and your 1/4 inch black washer, and throw it on there, and then you're gonna line up your T-nuts. See those guys? Those are the slide-in ones. Line them up with all of your holes. There's gonna be 2, 4, 6, and then bolt it down. All right, so once those are hand tight, I'm not gonna tighten everything down all the way until everything's installed where it needs to be. But just go ahead and make sure that your extrusion is flush on either side with your fairing. And next we're gonna assemble the rest of the rack all together and get it up on the truck. All right, we got the rack assembled now. Got our crossbar or our side rail correct, so the B is in the right spot. You're gonna wanna start with just use your fingers to hand tighten these to get them started so you don't cross thread it. And then you can use a drill or a ratchet or whatever to tighten it down. You may not want to tighten them like fully tight until it's on the truck. And you may have to move them based on whatever you're carrying, whether that be a tent or bike racks or whatever. So you'll be able to adjust those. And that's what's nice about the slots here, is it gives you a movability here. Is that the right word? Movability? You know what I'm saying? So each one has that. And then there's some grab handles here. And then you can also get accessories like these eye bolts for tie down points, or these strap tabs where you can mount them wherever you need them to tie stuff down on top, boxes or whatever. So yeah, let's get this thing on the truck now.
Is the other one still on the other side?
Yeah. I don't. Okay, so once we got the rack on the truck, I probably spent maybe 45 minutes fine-tuning, tweaking it, trying to get it to sit correct and even as even as possible. I did have to loosen the fairing, and I moved the wind fairing up, and then I loosened the bracket bolts where the bracket sits. So I loosened those up so that I could get the bracket to sit flat and flush on the roof itself. Like I said, loosen those up, move the fairing up so it was out of the way. And then once I got it where I felt it was as even as possible, so you're kind of fighting, keeping it even with this little body line here. On this truck at least, you're fighting the gap between this corner and your windshield, and you're fighting not really fighting, you're just lining up your antenna with your notch. My antenna sits a little bit to the right of the notch, but that's fine because the side rails are as close to even as possible, and I have a tiny bit bigger gap on this corner to the windshield, which isn't terrible. So that's as close as I could get it, where I was happy with. So then I went ahead and marked it with a Sharpie. So let me back up actually. Once I got the rack sitting where I wanted it to sit, I left the wind fairing up out of the way. It was still touching on the paint, so I'm not too stressed about that. I can always move it down if I need to. And then once I got it situated, then I pushed down, made sure the brackets were flush as possible, and then tightened this. So I had to kind of lift up on the rack to get my gap. So there's going to be a gap here between the bottom of your side rail and the bottom of your roof. So I had to lift this one up into the air to get the gap the same, if that makes sense. So you kind of have to play with that. You might need an extra set of hands so that you can like lift it and get it where you want it. And then unless you've got some shims would work great. So now we're drilling holes in the roof. It says 10 millimeter for the riv nut, but I don't have a 10 millimeter, so 3/8 gets that close, and then we'll get these guys installed next. Okay, so on this, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that there's 2 layers of sheet metal, and it's not, this one, this first hole, I think the riv nut's taller than that. I'm gonna measure my drill bit and see how far down it goes till it touches this second skin in here, and then see how far down the drill bit is. So it's only that far. So I'm gonna go check the riv nut and see. Okay, it's only about halfway the length of the riv nut. Riv nut. Let's go a little further. Try not to drill through my headliner. I feel no holes in my headliner, so that's good news. Go ahead and switch out this. Use a smaller drill bit for a pilot hole. That way you're not fighting a big, huge, ginormous drill bit that likes to walk on you. So start with a smaller one and then move your way up to a bigger one. I should probably bump up to one more bigger size, honestly, so I don't shred my sheet metal. I think I'm gonna do that. It'd honestly probably be fine, but just for safe, good measure, I'm gonna go right in between. Wasn't that much bigger. That's what she said. Yeah, it's fucking up that. A little bit bigger for the second one. Alright guys, so yesterday we got the cab rack done. Got the holes drilled, and then I put the riv nuts in with the riv nut tool from Harbor Freight. It just spins on there. I added some silicone around the riv nut that's under this bolt. Insert it in, open the arms of the tool, and then you spin it off. It's pretty easy. And then it sets your spots, obviously, for your brackets. and then put your bolt through. And then I put silicone on the bolt threads all the way across, just to help seal it off. There is a little tiny bit of a gap on this bracket here, so this isn't fully touching the roof. So what I might do is I might bend these little tabs back out just a hair, just to make it fit flush. And then these ones for the canopy, I am bending. They were doing kind of the same thing, and these are a universal bracket and a universal rack for truck toppers, so they're not going to fit every single topper perfectly the same. So these are the same thing. They were kind of bent up just a tiny bit, so I just threw them in my vise. I'll show you. Threw them in a little vise. You can get these vices super cheap at Harbor Freight. Give yourself something to mount it to, and then I just used my big pliers and just grabbed it here and pulled this way on it just to decrease the angle by a little bit. And now I'm just lopping out this a little bit further down because the topper kind of bows a little bit, and so I got all of these brackets bent just a tiny bit and they fit perfectly flush. Really nice. This one also sits flush, but you can see that little bit of metal right here on this, the side opposite my finger. So I'm just lopping it down a little bit more with my drill, just so it lines up that hole perfect. And then, as you can see, all those brackets are sitting flush. And even if they weren't perfectly flush, I'd rather have this side down, because the water's gonna flow this way. So I'd rather have this side down and this side up a little bit if needed. So just lopping these out, then I can get these last two small brackets installed in the middle there, and then we'll be done, I think. So pretty easy. You do need some basic tools, maybe an extra set of hands to lift the rack up there, set it in place, make sure everything's straight and as square as possible. But overall, it's great. Looks really awesome. Packaged really well, like I said. Plenty of hardware. And yeah, so let's see if I can stand back a little so you can see the side profile. Let me shut these doors. Yeah, I kind of skipped showing you guys the actual process of putting the rib nuts in. I can do that with the topper. But yeah, super happy with how it's coming together, and looks great and low profile, just like we like it. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and shoot us a message on Behind the Blazer on Instagram or Facebook. Yeah, go get yourself a rack from Baseline Overland. So it crunched that pretty good, but I think it'll work. So I'm just gonna wipe off this excess silicone. Just use my finger here. Wipe it on a towel, and we'll hope it holds and doesn't leak water. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell, I guess. Well, I neglected to do a walk around video after I got that all installed. I took photos, but apparently didn't video anything. So this is with everything on the truck. Obviously we've got our shower room, and then our tent, and then we have got our kayak strapped down to the roof, or to the top of the tent, sorry. But yeah, you can see like the gaps are like super low pro. I haven't had any issues. No water's gotten in thus far. We haven't had a ton of rain, but a little bit. And so yeah, everything looks really good, functioning well, and I'm super stoked on it. So if those of you who don't know, I'm a customer service rep for Baseline now. So some of those little tweaks with like the brackets and things like that you were seeing, we are refining some of that stuff. Kind of hard to do with universal brackets for like the canopy, but for the truck we're just fixing those angles just a little bit. I don't know that we have a ton of this body style rack out there, so any improvements that you guys find that need to be made, please let me know. You can email me at tyler@baselineoverland.com, or hit up peter@baselineoverland.com, or just hit us up at the info. Lots of different ways to get a hold of us, but we want to make your experience as great as possible. So there you go. There's a little walk around. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.